All right, here we go. Sick of 365 Radio, YouTube 365 Sports, in the chat room, a life of its own at times. For a while there, it was about Kansas State and those either taking shots at K-State or those defending K-State, and some of them also, including one that I put up, was talking about the respect for Kansas State. Now it's gone to Texas Tech and their defense. From BU Bear, Texas Tech keeps insisting they have a defense this year. We'll see tomorrow. Speaking of that,
I mean, I don't know about their defense either, and we will see based on Bijan. I don't know how much we'll see as a result of Casey Thompson, though. You know, like, he wasn't asked to do a whole lot. He'll be asked to do a lot more tomorrow, and so we should get a bit of a test as far as the run game goes, but passing wise, probably need a little bit more time to know.
Bob Williams, Texas to the 35-21 from also, this is from Simon. If Texas Tech's defense shows up, that game with Texas could be quite the game, but in Austin, the Horns will win. And they have tried like hell to create a home field advantage, but that's not always been the case. Now, since Chris Del Conte arrived, and they've been trying to, spice up around the stadium and up and down. And it's a big place, a big, huge mausoleum-type structure. And they've added and added and added, and they have at least created a little bit more atmosphere up and down around the stadium. But it hasn't always been a home field advantage for them. It has not always been that way. Some of their better wins seem to be neutral or on the road the last several years. Tell me where I'm wrong. And I'm not saying that in an argumentative way. When Vince Young was there, they always seemed to win in Stillwater.
I don't think anybody gets scared to go to Austin and play.
That's what I'm saying.
And their fans have gotten to a point where they sit on their hands. And it happens in a lot of places because you get apathetic. I think they're also, you're just hearing from guys. I remember just talking to Chip Brown, and he was saying that, part of the problem is that you go to other stadiums that are, smaller and all this than DKR, and they have ribbon boards, and they have engaging things during the game. They do these promotions, and fans are kicking field goals and stuff like that. And in Austin, for whatever reason, they weren't doing any of that stuff. He said, so there was no game day atmosphere. It's easy you have to combat the phone right now. You have to combat the phone. So if the game gets boring, especially if the students just start looking at their phones and texting each other back and forth about what they're going to do later.
Wait a minute. Phones are available at every stadium.
But you have to combat. You have to combat it everywhere.
I know, Texas but there's other stadiums that's not. There's an atmosphere.
Yeah, Texas hasn't done a good job of building the atmosphere to where you put your phone away.
Gary Lewis, anyone have a read on Tech's run defense? That's question number one. And then Stephen Davis responded, Texas Tech has good defensive backs, linebackers, but can they create a pass rush that may very well determine the game? I love the fact we're getting some questions about that game as well.
They've got a good run defense on paper right now, but, like I said a few minutes ago, we'll learn about their run defense exactly with Bijan Robinson because Texas is going to run the football. But, I don't know so much about the pass defense. That's kind of what I was saying is as I think we'll get a determination on the run defense tomorrow. And as far as some other areas, we'll probably get a determination there either because if they can't pressure the quarterback – with this Texas O-line that we know as right now is not the best, then, that could be a little bit of a sign of a problem. But, that could also be Casey Thompson being very elusive like a Jason Bean type and getting away as well. But, we'll definitely learn some things.
From Simon, this is a good point. Most of the Big 12 defenses are showing improvement ever since the 3-3-5 defensive scheme. That's why most of these games should not be shootouts anymore. Matt Campbell.
Yeah,
Chris Kleiman, Matt Rule, right? And obviously there
really
were
Matt
others.
Campbell.
Yeah, that started this run.
Matt Rule,
and Dave Aranda.
Yeah, and Matt Rule took the tips from Iowa State. I said that yesterday and took some pointers from them on how they started to play defense, and I think others have as well. And then, you add in the mentalities of the Dave Arandas and the Chris Klymans and those types, and it has become a defensive league in a very quick amount of time. And you look at the question marks for the entire Big 12. I don't worry really about Baylor's defense. I think TCU's always going to have a good defense. Iowa State's always going to have a good defense. Oklahoma's defense has gotten better. Still kind of wait and see on Texas a little bit. And some others, you're kind of just like not full bore. Like, I know they're good. But you look at the offenses, though, and there's some good offenses, but there's not, outside of Oklahoma when they're operating at their best, I don't think there's anybody that's like it used to be where you had like 5-6 teams that all had quarterback, running back, wide receivers that were, putting up monster numbers all the time. That's just not the case anymore.
Guys, the main reason I think Kansas State beats Oklahoma State is they have two very good backs, one of the great moves, one with great speed, Deuce Vaughn, Joe Irvin. Also from, let's see here. There was one other one about, let's see. Oh, here's from Andy. Here's a note about the Big 12 from Andy Olson. I firmly believe Bowlesby is only posturing to create havoc for the ACC and Oresco, AAC, with a fake second round to keep them up at night. With the Big 12 has no plans to expand. No, I think they do. Andy, thanks for your chat. But no, I do think the Big 12, this is not to keep Oresco up at night because Bowlesby's been there, and he probably didn't want somebody else to do it. I think they are absolutely, and they do want to move to a Chapter 2. The question is just a bunch of legalities in the timeline, and it's going to take some patience as well.
I have no doubt they're legit looking at it around number 2, and as far as the timeline though goes, there's not one. There's not this is in the next 6 months or this is even in the next 3 years. But obviously with grant of rights coming up, that's going to have to be something to debate. But they have no choice but to keep being proactive because again, if the Big Ten or somebody finally decides, maybe we should expand, or maybe the Pac-12 wakes up and goes, maybe we're not as secure, we need to expand. What have you, and you lose another couple of teams potentially, then, you're going to do this all over again. So I think they're trying to not only settle the waters, which they did, but they're also trying to build up for the future and ensure that they're not ever in this position ever again. And really to the point is, I don't know, maybe you'd be onto something, but I just don't understand why Bob Bowlesby would give a damn about what Mike Oresco thinks or be worried in any way, shape, or form about the American Conference.
He's got his own problems still.
Why would he possibly care about trolling the American? It does absolutely nothing for anybody. I mean, that just doesn't line up really.
By the way, I love this part of the
Thank you,
chat.